Please welcome your next storyteller, Susan.
When I was in 4th grade, the highlight of my week was Friday, because Friday was show and tell day. And I didn't do a lot great in school, but I rocked show and tell. It was like, if it was a Moth event, 10 out of 10, right? Really owned it. So there I am on this one Friday, and I'm showing off, mesmerizing my circle of friends, right? You sit in a circle with my pet rock, as one did in the 70s. And it was just like another stellar morning at show and tell. I had that high. It was awesome. I was queen of show and tell. And then the teacher says, all right, students, our next presenter is Greg. Now what? Greg had never done show and tell before because he was not on the circuit. I knew the roster. He had never performed. Everybody knew Greg because everybody knew Greg's father, who owned a big car dealership, and he was famous because he had a live cougar in the commercial. Would be with this live cougar. So, all right, Greg's gonna do his presentation, but children, we need to be quiet for this. What? What is this? Now, Greg stands up, he goes out of the circle of friendship and goes to the door, to the hallway, and opens the door to the hallway because whatever he's showing us is so big, it's not in his pocket like mine, and there are his parents in some big crate and a big tarp over the crate, and they wheel this thing in, and everyone's quiet. And I've lost already. I know I've lost my status. And Greg stands up and pulls this tarp off, and it's a live cougar. That is just not fair in 4th grade show and tell. That is not in the rule book. Game on, Greg. So, it takes me 2 years, but in 6th grade, they've got something called Career Day. Now, I grew up in Federal Way, and at that time, everybody's parents worked for either Boeing or Weyerhaeuser. You had your stray plumbers, an electrician, a chef here and there. But when they said Career Day, I knew I had a ringer. Because I knew that nobody had the job that my dad had. I was going to win this thing. Because my dad was an FBI agent. Back when being an FBI agent was cool. And honestly, I really didn't know what he did, but it was fancy and Patty Hearst, Green River Killer, Russian Spies, D.B. Cooper. My dad was there, big stuff, right? All I cared about is I know he's going to win this thing, but I also knew that my dad was going to say no because he's very humble, and he said, in my business, you don't advertise what you do. And I found out later as an adult that's because he was on a kill list for the Seattle Mafia. Anywho, I did what any law-abiding daughter and FBI agent would do and forged his name. And there was a buzz, and the teachers were excited that the FBI agent was going to come and do a presentation for the open classroom in the 70s. That meant 100 kids, not just 25. This was going to be awesome, and I knew I was going to be mad, and he was. He was mad when he found out they did this, but I also knew he was going to show up because he's just a show-up kind of guy, and he did, and he just rocked it. He rocked it, and he talked about fingerprints and badges and, posters with most wanted, woo! I got it back, Greg. And I really, really thought that I could never love my dad more than that moment, that he did that for me. But a year later, I found out what showing up really means. Because a year later, my mom had a massive stroke. She was 54, my age, and she couldn't walk and couldn't talk, and my dad quit this big fancy career and job to take care of his invalid wife and his 12-year-old daughter who was doing softball and dance and still had to find out how to get a bra. And he did all of that. And that's showing up.